I got the talking picture blues. There ain't nothing left to lose. Just sitting here all day, listening to your film takes, trying to keep from killing you.
We got a friend of ours to be a special guest for this conversation on Challengers, and her name is...
Sophia Litzinger. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. This is a high-profile... This is a super high-profile podcast. You have you have to pass our requirements to be on.
Huge honor to be on here.
It is. It is an honor.
Spoilers, by the way. If you haven't seen Challengers, fucking go watch it.
Yeah.
We're going to spoil the fuck out of it.
Yeah, as I was rewatching Challengers today, I was like, I probably like the score for this more than any other Reznor and Ross score. And I like
it more than Social Network.
Yeah, that was the bar it had to rise above. I love the Social Network score, and I still do, but yeah.
The thing about the rest of their scores they've done between Social Network and Challengers is that there are some really awesome tracks, but none of them are as consistent as Social Network and Challengers.
I really like Soul. I mean, it's not them alone.
Soul, the main one that stands out to me is the one that plays when they're like falling at the end. But most of that is done by John Batiste.
Yeah, all the jazz stuff is Batiste. But anyways,
but yeah, like
little tangent.
They're fucking like Mutant Mayhem scores. Like it's got some good tracks in there. But
I forgot they even did that.
Yeah, they did. It's kind of fire actually.
Yeah, I mean, as to be expected. There's a lot of good.
It's Nine Inch Nails doing Ninja Turtles music,
and there's great needle drops in that as well, sprinkled in. So one thing that I did want to ask is, with Challengers, when y'all initially saw the trailer, what did y'all think it was?
I never saw the trailer.
You never saw the trailer. Sophie, what did you think?
I thought Zendaya threesome. That's literally what I thought.
I was like, this
and I was like, I'm so in.
Going into the movie, I was like, all right, I want to go see this steamy movie.
Yeah.
But then walking out, I was like, this is probably my favorite movie I've seen in theaters in a long time because it wasn't that. It was like, I don't know. It's like a movie about someone living vicariously through others and manipulating them, and she doesn't really care about them. And I love her in the movie.
Me too.
Okay, I was battling this when I was rewatching it. It's probably her best performance.
I think it is.
Euphoria, though.
Yeah,
she's pretty amazing in that.
Oh,
there's some
right,
episodes.
Right.
There's some episodes where she's really
that one
amazing.
where she like gets drugged by the kingpin lady.
But there's some other really good ones where she had to do really hardcore emotional scenes.
Damn, I think you're right. I think Euphoria is her best performance.
But
fuck that show. You know?
But to be honest, I didn't know she could do what she did in Challengers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew
you know that one
They're
scene where she
completely
sits standing in the alley with Josh O'Connor and she does that like twitch with her eye.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, she's great.
No, she's amazing.
And they're all really great. And O'Connor in the movie, he really sells this like persona of this guy's a taker.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
And like one of the first scenes you see him in, he's going to sign up for the Challenger event at the beginning, and there's this lady who's there to like get people signed up. Or not signed up, but checked in or whatever.
He like takes her sandwich.
And she's like eyeing it, and she's like, "Are you hungry?" And he just like takes it and devours it. And if you're seeing the movie for the first time, you might think, "Oh, this guy's like sleeping in his car. He's just really hungry." But the more you watch the movie, you realize this is just who this dude is.
Yeah.
He is this like. Even though he's so repulsive, there is something about him that's magnetic. I mean, Josh O'Connor's a good-looking dude, clearly, but I think maybe not the very first scene you see him in, but the night before he shows up for the Challenger event, he's like trying to get into this hotel that won't let him in because he doesn't have any money, and he's like, "Oh, I'll get paid tomorrow at the Challenger event, and I'll have enough to pay you back," and they won't do it, but he tries to. Basically, like, sweet talk the lady into letting him into a room.
And I mean, I think, because I was thinking about why Zendaya's character is, like, so drawn to him constantly. And I think, first of all, like, part of that has to do with, like, that she's also kind of a taker. Like, she, she kind of also mooches off of people, like, with art. But she also, like... The entire movie, Art sees her as, like, a god. Like, he literally she says something like, "You're Jesus" or something, and he's like, "Yeah, like, you are," or something like that. Patrick's character he doesn't view her as, like, a god like everyone else does.
No, he sees her as she
as
is.
He literally says, like, she's like, he says, "I'm your peer."
Yeah.
And that's like part of what I think like draws Zendaya's character to him a lot, because it gives her, it's like competition.
Yeah,
like,
she says, "You're not a member of my fan club."
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's why he's like appealing to her, you know, because when everyone else treats her like a god, he's the only person that will treat her like she's the same as him. And that's kind of like it gives her a little bit of a game to try and get his, you know, approval, I guess.
One thing I noticed watching it today, and I promise I didn't just rewind this scene because I wanted to watch it again, but it was the scene where she, you know, coerces them into making out. You know, she gets them to come sit on the bed, and she looks at Josh O'Connor's character, and at first, and he tries to come in for a kiss, and she turns away and does turn to Art, and they start making out. And I had to rewind it to like watch her. Maybe I'm just reading too much into the performance, but I see like there's more intimacy with Art, but there's more passion with O'Connor.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that
with
was
Guadagnino, I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's so good at doing these types of things. Like A Bigger Splash is all like everything with Ralph Fiennes' character and everything with him and Blanchett. I should say these three actors are really the only people of any stature in this movie. Everybody else is like just like a character actor. Half of them don't even have like IMDb pictures. Like they're really the only three with any kind of star
Perhaps
power.
that's the point.
Yeah.
Nah, I think it's great, and they all three are so good. I would say that Art is sort of like supplemental. Like he's if it were to go up against for the awards, I think that that O'Connor would be best actor and Feist would be supporting.
I saw it in a video. Someone called them Fire and Ice. I don't know if that's what they were called in the movie at all.
I feel like they were.
Yeah, like when they were playing together. But
Yeah,
they
I think that's
said,
it.
This is what Zendaya said, was you can actually build something with ice. Fire just burns shit down, which is kind of just like
shit.
Yeah.
Damn, Zendaya.
Like Patrick is sort of this. He's like fire. He's destroying
everything he touches.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Destroying their marriage.
Exactly. That's
by
what.
sleeping with her.
Exactly, and he just like kind of like spreads his way into their lives. And then with ice, she can build something off of ice, you know?
Yeah, okay.
And that's kind of Art's character, too. He is very easily, like, I don't know who, it might have been the director or something said, like, a blank slate. Like, she's able to, like, turn him into whatever she wants him to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say, you know, before watching Challengers, we all saw this in theaters, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Before watching Challengers, I always really appreciated Guadagnino. I've always really loved Call Me By Your Name. I think his Suspiria remake is better than the original.
We're gonna have to duke that one out eventually.
We do.
Not the point of this
that'll be our
episode.
first double episode.
Yeah, moving on.
Watch it back to back. You know, I hadn't seen I Am Love. I haven't seen We Are Who We Are. Bones and All I thought was okay. It was just decent. This is the first film where I really connected with one of his films. After rewatching half of it, I don't think it's his best. I think his best is probably Call Me By Your Name, from what I've seen. And we'll get into my only issue I have with Challengers later. But
let me get this. We'll get this on record real quick. You prefer the movie with the cannibal to Challengers?
Wait.
Just moving on. All right.
Wait, no, because Call Me By Your Name doesn't have. Wait, you're right. Oh, I thought you were talking about Bones and All. Yeah, no.
No, that's the movie
There's
about
both,
cannibals.
yeah.
no.
two.
Army Hammer's a cannibal.
No, I know. But I'm like, there's the one with the actor who's a cannibal, and then there's the one with like the literal.
What can I say?
cannibals
He
in the
loves
movie.
cannibals. Guadagnino.
Yeah.
That Luca.
I mean.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know what that says about you.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead with what you were saying.
No, the whole
What
room
a
is
dick.
judging you right now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I had always really appreciated him, but Challengers was the first film where I really loved what he was doing. Just like completely blown away. I was ecstatic leaving the theater.
Same.
Yeah, just like, damn, like what a
The
good
ending
ass
is
movie.
so fucking good.
It's
The ending
incredible.
is perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
we
I
like
wish more movies had the guts to do endings like that.
half
anymore.
of this
Movies
discussion.
used to do that, but they don't do things like that hardly ever anymore. And that one really
True.
satisfied
Half of
me.
this discussion has to be spent about talking about the presentation. But before I move on to that, let me finish off the area of the script by saying, I love a good payoff. I love when a writer is able to really sneak one up on you because they're always so satisfying. Because that's just inherently what a payoff is, right? The payoff at the end with the tell on the tennis racket is fucking incredible.
I will say, before we move on from the script, I do have to mention the coldest scene in the entire movie is when she says, "If you don't win tomorrow, I will leave you." And then she's like, "Is that good? Does that make it make it
but
easier for you?"
But that's part of like what Art wants though, because that's
Yeah,
the only thing
yeah.
that will keep his passion.
He's kind of
He
pathetic
starts
at the
he
end.
starts fucking like kissing her and
Yeah,
shit right
yeah.
after that. He starts
He
like
has to
He's
have,
so
it,
desperate for it.
it almost turns him on.
he
It's
has to
such
have competition during his tennis to actually play well though.
Yeah.
And that's why he plays so well when he goes against Patrick.
But
And
yeah,
that's why
it
the
is
only
so
time
cold.
when he starts getting good during the last scene, is when Patrick does the signal and then there's the competition and he's going at it. That's why it's so he needs that, you know, and Tashi knows that. She knows the character. She knows Art and she knows Patrick so well.
Half of this fucking discussion needs to be spent talking about the film technically.
Yeah.
The editing is the best of the
I guess
year.
we can start on that. My favorite thing about it is the editing. The editing is incredible. I'm usually not a huge fan of like hypercutting. I think I've said that on this podcast
But
before.
it works so
It
well
works
in the tennis sequences.
Oh
Yeah.
wow! Just that, like, from memory, like in their final, in the final set, it like quickly cuts to Art's leg when he like slides. It's like a really violent cut.
Yeah.
That shit just immediately stands out to me. It's super well edited film, and
Yes.
even like
And it's like a
the
throwback.
slow mo usage is so like goddamn perfect. The car scene in the storm, oh my fucking god! I love a good speed ramp. So what it does is that she gets out. He's like, "Oh, your hotel's that way." It as soon as the electric beat hits, it does a speed ramp where it slows down.
Yes.
I just realized something. Isn't the lighting in that scene blue and red?
Yes.
Yes.
Blue and red, fire and ice.
There you go.
Yeah.
As an editor, I fucking hate frame cutting, where it's usually when you take 24 frames per second footage and you like cut it to like 50% speed, and it's really choppy, right?
Yeah.
They do it in like The Matrix Resurrections, the newest Matrix film. I usually hate it because it's so dated to me. It's from the 2000s. They cut frames in that scene. When they start making out, they cut frames to where it's really choppy. And it works. I'm not sure what about it makes it work, but
It's the emotional
emotionally,
beat, yeah.
tone-wise, for what they're going for, maybe in like a this is pathetic or like a finally type of thing. But no, like I think this is the one instance I can actually say I actually liked when the editor decided to cut frames. And that's honestly how most of this film, that's like my main descriptor for this entire film. It shouldn't work, but it does, and it does so well.
Yeah, and the camera work in general is as is the usual in all of Guadagnino's films.
yeah.
But all his films are beautiful. The colors are great. All the camera moves are always smooth and perfect if they need to be.
There's that
And
crazy
then if
like
he-
crane shot at the beginning
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
where it zooms into her face. Yeah,
And it's
Yeah.
shot kind of like a thriller,
it is.
And
Well,
it
it's
is-
shot like a
it's-
tennis match.
Yeah, it is true, but it also like the
I've never
entire
seen it. That's
time the movie felt like a thriller. And
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and I realized I think what I'd like call it would be like an emotional thriller,
Yeah,
like where it's like using emotions, but that's like the thrilling part of it.
I mean,
That's
it's
a good
all
way to
in
put
the
it.
edit because
Yeah.
like the conversations are very much like tennis matches where it's
Yeah.
back and forth, back and forth, back
Yeah,
and forth. It's just
exactly.
another sort of layer in this onion.
the soundtrack in general is
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
I'm not sure what it is, and I tried finding it like a week ago, but I couldn't find it on the soundtrack release. That song that's playing during the makeout scene, especially when like she leans down and it's on like the ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, like that part. I want to know what that fucking song
Oh,
is. I
are
don't
you
know what
talking
it
about?
is.
Yes, that's Uncle Ace by Blood Orange. I listen to that all the time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, that because I love that part of the song too, and I listen to that in the car like all the time. It's
such
so
like
good.
oh my, like what a great usage of music.
Yes, exactly.
This is what I'm fucking talking about. I want from movies, right? I want shit to like chew on.
Yeah.
I don't want holy motors where I'm like, this is bullshit the entire time. You know, I want to chew on the layers upon layers of this onion. There's so much to appreciate and love about it.
Exactly,
you know?
and that you can keep learning about.
Effort.
I would argue that you're watching Holy Motors incorrectly. I think you're expecting
I'm playing
something.
the video game wrong.
I think you're expecting something that Holy Motors is not trying to do out of Holy Motors.
My only real issue with the movie, I do think that it has a minor pacing issue, just in that I think it's a little long. It could have been like 2 hours.
What are we cutting?
2:12. What are we cutting? Not so much what are we cutting and removing entirely, but what are we
Rewriting.
shortening? What are we shortening? Yeah, sort of thing.
Yeah. I do have some more technical things that I want to
Go
mention
off.
with the wardrobe, because I also watched a video and someone was talking about the fire and ice thing. When we first like meet like Patrick and Art, their rackets Art's is blue and Patrick's is red. But during the party scene, when they first like talk to Tashi, first of all, Art changes, Patrick doesn't. Like Art puts on like a nice button down, and Patrick doesn't, just because that's how their characters are.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I forget who said it, but neither of us have seen I Am Love, but there is this video about the color coordination in I Am Love, in that like one of the sons is like really close to like the maid, and so the maid is pouring orange juice, and the son is wearing like an orange sweater.
I love little details like that, though.
Yeah, that sounds like a Luca thing.
Yeah.
From what I've heard about I Am Love.
And then, but during the first talk scene, Art is he puts on a pink button down, but it's like a light pink, and then Patrick is wearing like a light blue shirt, which is kind of like switching their colors. But I also think that because this was like my own little interpretation of like why they made them like pastel, is because it's like they're almost trying to wear those characteristics of each other, like because it's both something, they both have something that they're lacking from their personalities, if that makes sense, that they want.
We all like this film.
I think it's safe to say we all love Challengers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's your finger ranking for Challengers, Jackson?
6 out of 10. I was fairly disappointed by it.
I don't believe you.
What?
No, 9 out of 10. I loved
Okay.
it.
9 out of
Alright.
10.
9 out of 10.
All right.
Yeah.
I give it 10 fingers. I love
Yeah.
it. It's like I said, my favorite movie of the year, my favorite Guadagnino film, probably my favorite performance from all three of the leads.
I would give it 10 out of 10 too, but just because any movie that can get me like, I don't know if I've been that, I have never felt that feeling of like the heart racing at the end of a movie, like ever. So that just was a game changer for me. Get automatically a 10 out of 10. And just like being that invested in a movie, I don't think and I just can't really see any flaws in it. Like it's just so perfect to me. And, you know, maybe part of that has to do with Mike Feist, and that's okay.
So, yeah, before we end off on this episode, possibly the best episode of the podcast so far, depends how the edit comes together, we decided, you know, from so far we've sort of been coordinating our picks for what we'll talk about each episode, but now we're gonna change it up a bit. At the end of each episode, me and Zach are going to go back and forth and recommend the film that we will talk about in the next episode. So I guess I'll go first. I think it's time. You know, it seems to be a good timing because it just got announced that it's going to be on Criterion on 4K. So I think we'll talk about No Country
Okay.
on the next episode.
I'll rewatch it.
I've
A
got
film I like.
Anyways, No Country for Old Men. If you don't want to be spoiled for No Country for Old Men, watch it and then listen to the next episode of.
Go read the entirety
Our
of Cormac
podcast.
McCarthy's novel. Watch the film, then
Yeah.
listen to the podcast,
Yeah, go read No Country for Old Men and then watch it.
and then read Blood Meridian. and
Or you
then
could just
listen to
read
the
Blood
podcast.
Meridian and shut off this podcast. You know, you could do that.
If you read Blood Meridian, you would shut off this podcast. Peace out, homies.